As archaeologists dig in western Siberia, they find a grave that is 5,000 years old and has a unique object wrapped around the neck of a Bronze Age person. Bird heads and beaks are used to make what looks like a piece of a cloak. Strange things that archaeologists in Russia don't understand about the body of Birdman, an animal that lived in the air. Up to 30 ancient graves have been found in the Siberian area of Novosibirsk by the U.S. TARDIS side. A lot of strange artifacts from the Bronze Age have been found by experts. Because of this, the area has given us an interesting look into the culture of prehistoric Siberia. We now know more about how people in ancient Russia died thanks to the finding of several grave sites. The name Aside comes from the U.S. TARDIS people who lived in western Siberia over 5,000 years ago. They were not the only ones who left their mark on the area in the last few thousand years, though. Different groups of people have lived in western Siberia over time. Some of them we don't know much about. The U.S. TARDIS come from the Neolithic era. There have also been people from the Andronov, Pakamovo, and Kritovo communities since then. The bird outfit, on the other hand, wasn't from any of those times. Instead, it was made by people from the Adorned society, who were mostly hunters and gatherers. Lilia Kabaleva from the Novosibirsk Institute of Archaeology and Ethnography says it's possible that the Antonovs were shamans. As early as the Bronze Age, many faiths in Siberia were based on shamans that you might not believe. A shaman is like a priest because they can see and talk to ghosts and other realms. Shamanism in Iberia says that there are 3 places in the universe. But let's go back to the Adonov grave, which was started in 2019 and made public in May. Researchers in Novosibirsk were interested in this because it showed that people were buried with certain things or clothes even back then. The Adonov grave was one of a kind. Lena Kabaleva, a researcher, told the Siberian Times that the body of the so-called Birdman had what looked like a collar made of 50 bird heads and beaks. The Bronze Age artifacts were taken from the U.S. TARDIS site and sent to the Novosibirsk Institute of Archaeology and Ethnography to be cleaned and studied. The collar is very fragile, so this process will take months. However, experts hope that it will help them figure out one of the many riddles surrounding the amazing find. One thing that researchers still don't know is how the beaks were connected. 5 pendants were also found by the researchers. People thought that these polished stone items in the shape of a crescent were used in rituals. Some were around the dead man's waist, and some were on his arms. Lydia Kabaleva told the Siberian Times, "We are very happy to have found these one-of-a-kind things." Kabaleva said that this is the first time that something like this has been found in western Siberia as part of the Adonov Society. But what we found in these 2 graves was more interesting than anything else we had found. The fact that these artifacts are so unique makes experts scratch their heads. In the case of the collar, glasses, and pendants, experts don't know why they were buried in the first place. How the grave goods were made and what kind of person was buried with them can tell researchers a lot. It's possible that the tombs of the pharaohs of Egypt are the most famous and expensive examples of grave goods. The country's huge pyramids were built to be huge tombs for the rulers, full of wealth and everything they would need for a smooth journey to the future. Of course, not every old grave is that of a king or queen. It's likely that both guys had important jobs. It was thought by researcher Lilia Kabaleva that both men might have been shamans since they lived during the time when the Adonov Society was active. This would explain the strange things discovered in their graves. The beat collar, on the other hand, could have been a ritual outfit, armor, or even a headdress. Scientists don't have much information to go on when they try to figure out what these strange things are. There is still a chance that these grave goods can be found, even though experts in Siberia still don't know what they were used for. The goods are still great, of course. They are still recognizable after 5,000 years, which is an amazing feat in and of itself. But the collar, glasses, and chains will give us a small glimpse into the lives of our ancestors once they have been fixed and cleaned. Siberia also seems to play a big part in other places in this way. Amazing Bronze Age artifacts and dozens of ancient bodies have been found in that area. But the area is even older than that. The piece of Austrian man bone was not only the oldest human bone that could be carbon dated, but a Russian artist also found that it had full DNA. That made the man from the station the oldest person whose DNA had been mapped. The leg of an Austin man is the oldest bone that has been carbon dated and DNA analyzed. It is also the oldest human remains that have been found outside of Africa and the Middle East. National Geographic says that he might have been a member of the first foragers, a group of early people who came to Asia and Europe in the last 60,000 years. Genetically, Dishoom man is also thought to be linked to Native Americans and Asians today. One person who had never been seen or heard of before was buried with this bone. The find was made by scientists at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology in Leipzig. There were tests on the bone in Germany. The Guardian says that Johannes Cross sequenced DNA from the mitochondria. There are small things inside cells called mitochondria that carry genetic stuff. The mother is the only one who can pass on this information. They called it a X-woman because its DNA came from the mother. German scientists were shocked by what they found when they sequenced the genes of the finger bones. Cross told The Guardian that the description didn't fit either early humans or Neanderthals. "It looked like something I'd never seen before," he stated, but that wasn't the end of the strange results. Cross says that the DNA in the finger bone was a pattern that is somehow like human DNA, but also very different. Based on these connections, it's possible that humans and apes may have shared an ancestor about 1 million years ago. The amazing discoveries made in May 2019 can still teach us a lot. Scientists may have more answers once the findings are cleaned up. We won't know for sure what a bird beak collar was used for until that time. Have a great day, and don't forget to like and follow.